time of month again where we pick my June TBR. But this is going to be done a little bit differently. I would like to mood read as much as possible in June, so I'm not going to have like certain assigned books. I think what we're going to do is pick like a couple of options for how I'm going to be choosing my TBR this month. So I got these reader roulette cards recently from a wandering bookstore called Wandering Page, and they like go all over the state, and they like sell books out of like a trailer. It's so cute. It's so adorable. They have like bookshelves in the back in the trailer, and they have like all these like cute little book accessories. They have bookmarks, Kindle cases, shirts. So I actually got this shirt from the Wandering Page. It says Dark Romance Readers Society. So I was actually eyeing this one the last time I shopped with them, so I decided to buy it this time. And then the last time before that I shopped with them, I bought these cards. So I'm like really excited to use these. I actually did use these for another vlog that I'm going to be filming. So besides like those and those books that I picked for that vlog, and sorry, give me a second, like all over the place already. And a couple of books that I have to read in June because I can't not read them. Because one of them is for a book club, another one's for a certain book club, and there's two other books that I'm doing a buddy read, and also there should be one other one that I can't not read. So anyway, but again, I want to mood read as much as possible. There's like some new books that I really want to read on here. So, and also there's some books that have been sitting here for a really long time. I don't know if I'm necessarily going to read those in June. I would like to read them over the summer though. As much as I can possibly get off of this cart, the better. So let's go ahead and get started. Let me just tell you guys the ones that I have to read in June. But honestly, I'm so happy that there's really not that many June releases. Thank God. Because May, again, was friggin' insane with the new releases, guys. Like, just crazy. So, I did get to most of the books that I wanted to read again in May. The only 3 that I'm not getting to, I only didn't get to 3, which I think is pretty damn good, is, again, The Daughter of the Moon Goddess duology, but I really want to read that in June. I can't keep on pushing it off. I really want to read those in June before the spring is over, because if I don't read those in June, then I'm never going to read them until next year, and I really don't want them sitting on my TBR for longer than 2 years, because they've been on my TBR for almost 2 years at this point. So, and then Assassin's Apprentice was the only other one I didn't get to because I knew I wasn't going to read it this month. So I'm really hoping to read that trilogy over the summer as well. I don't know why it's just been so hard for me to read series this year. I just like, for some reason, I don't know, I haven't been able to commit to like a longer series. So, all right, let's tell you guys about the 3 or 4 books that I have to read in June. So the first one is my book club pick with my book club girlies. We read, what did I forget? Why did I forget what we read in May? We read Best Offer Wins in May and Yesteryear. So those, we actually, most of us got to both books. So that was awesome. Because we all wanted to read Yesteryear because that's like literally the book of the summer. I feel, or the spring summer, because it's just been so popular and everyone's reading it, so we wanted to read that. But we wanted to pick like a gay or sapphic romance for Pride Month for our book club. So the book we ended up picking is The Guncle Abroad by Stephen Rowley. I've been wanting to read this book since I read The Guncle last year, and me and Felicia we were gonna buddy read this. Can I speak English? Oh my God. We were gonna buddy read this in June anyway, and my book club ended up voting to pick this one. So we're gonna read the sequel. I'm super excited. But literally after everyone had voted for it, because like 3 people voted for it, there's only 7 of us, but that's a great number, honestly. After they all voted for it, they were like, so can you read this without reading The Guncle? And me and Felicia are like, yes, they are interconnected standalones. We said that like 5 times in the chat. But everybody's like, oh, I might read both anyway. And honestly, if they want to do that, that's up to them. But like me and Felicia had already read them. But also, we told everyone they are interconnected standalones. We're never going to pick books that are that you have to read because it's like a direct sequel. So that's our book club pick. And then the other book club pick that I have is actually a local bookstore here. And the reason why I really want to read this book in June is because the author is also going to come to the book club meeting for this bookstore. And this is his new thriller release. So I picked this up like 2 days ago because obviously I want him to sign it. I usually don't pick up thrillers really at all anymore. 99% of the time I'm reading them on my Kindle, but this one I wanted to get because obviously I want him to sign it. So that is The Anniversary by Alex Finley. So I definitely have to read this one in June because it's just so cool that he's going to be at the actual book club meeting. It's at this place called Northport Books. And we actually are thinking about going there next week for our book club chat. So I'm really excited for that too. I've been there a couple of times for a couple of book signings. I just went recently, a couple of weeks ago, for the Summer I Found You author. I really want to read that in June as well. So yeah, definitely reading this in June. Cannot not read this because I want to go to the signing. And then the other one is my buddy read with Felicia, and that is The Correspondent by Virginia Evans. So me and her have really been wanting to read this, so we finally decided that we wanted to read it in June. So that's one of the other most popular books so far this year. And then I felt like there was another one. 1, 2, 3. Really everything else, it's just, if the Libby audiobook like expires or not. So, all right, let's go ahead and get started and let's pick, I think we're probably going to pick 6 cards and we'll see like what I'm feeling the most. Why is this so hard to shuffle right now? Okay. I don't know why he's barking so much. My dad like drives him crazy. All right, so I'm going to use like the middle of the deck. I'm being a little butthead right now. I call him my little butthead because he's a butthead. All right, let's go ahead and pick. This is so annoying to spread out sometimes. I'm going to pick it from like a different section every time though. So let's go ahead and pick our first card. So let's pick this one. Read a book that you were gifted. I don't think any of the books on here were not bought by me or purchased by me, I mean. I was just recently gifted this book, though, in a blind date with a book yesterday. But I don't necessarily want to read that right now. Because actually I have 2 options, but I don't really want to read either of these right at the current moment. So it'd either be Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn or Very Sincerely Yours by Carrie Winfrey. I went to a blind date with a book swap kind of event yesterday where we had to wrap our own books and book swap with our book girlies. And what's so funny is that like one of my friends, Meg, she ended up picking my friend Becca's book. And these are like completely blind. Like she didn't know what her book really looked like. So she decided to pick hers. And I thought that was so funny. And then my other friend, Courtney, that came there, she ended up picking Amelia's book. But I ended up getting a book that I've already read. And Courtney got this book. So I said to Courtney, because we were just talking about Carly Fortune and we were just talking about Every Summer After. And that's the book that I ended up picking. And I was like, do you want to swap? Because she said that she wanted to read it anyway. And she's like, yeah. And then I was like, when you finish it, then I can just give this to you if you want to read it. But I kind of want to read this. So I think I'm going to pick this one. I don't even know what this one is about, but we'll put it on the TBR. Doesn't mean we're going to necessarily read it because there's a lot of books here that I've had for a long time. It says, we'll just read the synopsis after we pick our books. So that is the first one. Okay, that's fun. All right, let's go ahead and pick the next one. I was like, where'd the card go? In the freaking book. Dumbass. I don't have to shuffle them again because I'm picking them from different sections. So, all right. Why is this going off already? Okay, I think that's like 10 or so books. All right. We're just going to fan it out, and we're going to pick, I guess we'll pick the first one. Play Spin the Bottle with 5 books and read the winner. Ooh, that's a fun one. So let me pick out 5 books, and then I will film. I'll probably film it on my phone, actually, and then I'll just insert the clip. Actually, never mind. I have to use my phone in order to spin the bottle. I don't know if I have anything else to use. I do have an empty, well, I don't have an empty bottle in the fridge, but I could have an empty bottle. All right, we'll figure it out. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do for it. So these are the 5 books that I picked. Why am I angling it down? We have The Summer Proposal by V. Keeland, which is number 1. Then we have Deathbringer by, actually no, never mind. I have to go this way. Then we have Mad Honey by Jodi Picoult, which is number 2. Then we have Once a Queen by Sarah Arthur. Can I speak English? Which is number 3. And then we have Daughter of the Moon Goddess by Sulin Tan, which is number 4. And then we have Deathbringer by Sonia Tagliarenni. I always butcher her name, which is number 5. Because spinning the bottle, I don't have like an empty bottle right now, and I really don't feel like going in the kitchen because my family just drives me insane. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this spinner wheel, and it's numbered 1 through 5 of the way that I place the books. Well, it just put it that way. So I'm going to refresh the page though, so it's not on like the number I just spun, which is so funny because it's on 1 anyway. But we're just going to go ahead and spin this wheel and see which book it ends up choosing. Okay, so we got number 4. 3, 4. Daughter of the Moon Goddess by Sulin Tan. Okay, so that is what we're going to be reading. That makes me really happy. I actually like how I did that. I still have the duology prompt in here because that's the duology that I picked to read, but we ended up not reading it, so. Alright, cool. That makes me happy. Let me just put these books back. Okay, so we shuffled them again, and we're just going to pick from this part of the deck. And let's see what prompt we pick next, I mean. Again, English is hard, apparently. Because I need, like, some sort of TBR. That doesn't mean I'm necessarily going to read all these books. I just want to, like, pick at least 6 books to see whether or not I'm going to get to them, but it's not the end of the world if I don't. Okay, so we got this one. Actually, we kind of picked both, but whatever, it's fine. It says, choose an ebook to read. Okay, so I'm not sure if a lot of these are on. Okay, well, we do have a couple on. We actually do have one. I really want to start this series in June, so I think I'm going to pick. Well, actually, we have 3 potential options. So I was just going to mood read my Kindle TBR as much as possible. So let me go ahead and see. I don't think I have it downloaded anymore, but I do want to download this book. So the first one is the first book in the Windy series. Windy series. Jesus fucking Christ, Caitlin. Windy City series. And it's called Mile High. So this one is on Kindle Unlimited. So I'm actually going to download this book right now. I think I'm going to return. There are some Kindle books that have been on my TBR for forever too, that I really would like to read eventually. I'm kind of sick of looking at them on my, you know what, I'll return this one because I own it physically. So we're going to download Mile High. So we have that one. I think I want to pick that one, but there are like 2 more options that I would like to read this month. I'm just going to tell you, like I said, that we might not pick just one. We might have a couple of different options. So the second potential option would be the first book in the Kindred's Curse saga, which is Spark of the Everflame by Penn Cole, because we finally got a release date for the fourth book, Burn. She announced it like a couple of weeks ago, and it's coming out in September. So I would like to start the series in June and read one book each month so I can be ready for the fourth book to come out in September. So I might pick this one too. So we have a fantasy and we have a romance. We might just leave it there because I don't want to overwhelm myself to one book. I mean, to too many books. But, like, let's pick one more. And then the last one is a fantasy standalone. And this one's actually been getting really good reviews lately too. Forgot that I downloaded it. Let me just pull up the cover. Duh. And this one is called Between Tides and Thunder by Lena Kazak. I'm definitely not saying her name right. But this is a fantasy standalone. I think I found out about this book from Mike Bookstagram. We talk all the time on Instagram. So yeah, he's really fun. So I'm going to take this one out of the stack, obviously, because we picked that already. And then we're going to just pick from the same part of the deck, and then we'll pick from a different section for the last two cards. I think that makes sense, right? All right, let's go ahead and pick another one from this one. We're just going to pick, I think this one. Read a Pulitzer Prize winner or nominee. I don't think any of these are Pulitzer Prize winners. I don't think Mad Honey is. This one I don't think is either. No, I don't think any of these are Pulitzer Prize winning. But it says or nominee. We're gonna go back to that prompt. I'm gonna keep it here because I don't know if I really have any books that are Pulitzer Prize winning. So, yeah. All right, let's pick from a different section of the deck now. Because I had to figure out whether or not some of them were actual nominees. I think the only two that might have been, or maybe three, is The Vanishing Half, Mad Honey, or As Long as the Lemon Trees Grow. So I have to look up those to see whether or not they were nominated. Because I know none of them actually won it, so The Vanishing Half I'm going to have to look up. I feel like that might be a strong contender. All right, let's pick another prompt. All right, so we got this one. Wrap 3 books from your shelf and unwrap 1 to read. I just feel like this isn't random enough for me because it's only 3 books. I feel like I'm going to save this for a future TBR because I might take 3 books off of there and see whether or not I forget about them. All right, let's pick another one. I don't know why I'm explaining myself. Choose a book with a 5-star prediction. Okay, we could definitely do one of the books that are obviously on my TBR right now. I think I have 2 options at least. I don't know about the other ones, but like I said, I can pick 2 books because, like, I really want to read these 2 books in June anyway. So we're going to pick Jodi Picoult's Mad Honey. Definitely this one. I definitely think one of her books could be a 5-star prediction for me. And then The Correspondent by Virginia Evans. I think that these 2 could be really strong contenders for a 5-star prediction book. So I think we're just going to stick with these 2. That's great because I really wanted to read Mad Honey in like April, but I never got to it. So, and this one has a sapphic subplot, I believe. So perfect for Pride as well. So I'm going to put this up here along with The Correspondent. That is perfect. And The Correspondent's actually getting a movie too. So all of these general fiction books have become so freaking popular. They're all getting movies. Isn't that freaking insane? Okay, let's go ahead and pick. Well, I was supposed to pick from the same section, but whatever. I think we already picked 3 from that section, so I want to pick from a different section because the other 2 didn't exactly work. Let's put like 2 away. Okay, so now we have like 10. How many have we picked? I think we picked 4, so we get to pick 2 more cards. All right, let's see. Which one do we want? I wish there was somebody that could pick for me. Read a sequel. Well, I think I could just do the second book in Daughter of the Moon Goddess. I feel like that would make me read both of them. Yeah, I think I'm just going to do that. Why not? Because it makes it so much easier because then I have to read both of these books. So I'm going to pick Heart of the Sun Warrior by Sulin Tan because it's literally the sequel too. Well, we actually have two potential picks, so I'm going to pick this one just to put here. And I'm going to obviously put it next to Daughter of the Moon Goddess if I don't destroy the cart first. I think we're going to pick two options though. But I'm definitely going to read that, but I'm also, there's another potential option. Again, if I could speak English, that would be great. So I can also pick the second book. Oh my God, can I type? So we also could do the second book in the Windy City series, which is The Right Move by Liz Tom 40. So I really want to read the first two books in June, because I feel like that's going to be a series that I want to spread out throughout the summer as well. And then I really want to read books 3 and 4 in July and then finish the series in August. I think that would be, because then I would just have to read Rewinded Back. I just have been really wanting to read this series for forever. So, okay, let's pick from the same section. I think we only have like, never mind. There's only like 5 books here. Okay, I mean 5 cards. 5 potential books though. Let's pick from the top of the deck. I think we have, let's do 2 more. Okay. I don't know what we're going to pick it from anyway. I usually don't pick the outside cards. So let's just go ahead. And I think this is our last one, right? Right? Yeah, I think so. Okay. Wait, no. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, yeah, it is our last one. Okay. Let's go ahead and pick this one. Read a book set in Paris. I don't know if any of these are set in Paris, to be honest. I don't think any of these are set in Paris. Like Uncle Abroad isn't even set in Paris. No, I don't think any of these are set in Paris, so I'm going to pick another one. I don't think any of them are. What's so funny is that the only book that I read that was set in Paris recently was The Paris Match. Duh, because it's in the freaking title. But I didn't really like that book, so yeah. Anyway, let's pick from this side. Pick the longest book on your TBR. Why do I get this every single time that I do this? Alright, so we're going to see, I think we're just going to pick the longest book that's on my potential TBR list. Right? I'm not picking the longest book on my TBR. We can curate it to our liking, right? But none of these books are really that long. Or I could pick the longest book on the card, which would be Once and Future Witches, I think. But I really just want to pick the longest book that's on my TBR this month. I don't think those are even that long. I don't think any of these are that long, to be honest. Alright, I think we're going to pick one more card. Actually, hold on. I think I have one. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I actually went into my TBR drawer because I want to pick as many from that as possible. But there's actually like 3, like I said, I want to start like 3 or 4 series this month, or potentially finish at least 2 and start like 3 or 4. So But Dance of Thieves has been on my TBR for forever by Mary E. Pearson. And this is definitely the longest book that's on my TBR for this month. So I think I'm going to do it that way. And this one is 505 pages. So we're going to do this along with Vow of Thieves. And we're finally going to be putting this on my TBR. Because again, if I don't read these now, I'm never going to read them. And I feel like if I read, like, bang out a couple of duologies that have been on my TBR for a ridiculous amount of time, this also would count for the sequel prompt too. So now we have 3 different options. Then I'm never going to read them. So I really just need to bang out some of these duologies when I want to read them. I also could have potentially almost picked Legendborn by Tracy Dion. This one is this one's not as long though. I think it's like $4.90 exactly. Yeah, $4.90, but I might put this on my TBR too because I actually want to buddy read this with Becca. And she said she wanted to start reading this in like a couple of weeks. So this is going to go on my TBR as well. So we're just going to put it up here. So I think that's a really good potential TBR. This one I'm just putting here. I think we're going to pick another prompt though for this one because I'm not going to read this month. I just got this book and I'd rather read books that have been in my TBR for way longer or just new releases that I'm more excited about. So I'm just going to pick from, I don't even know what we did with those other cards, but I think we're just going to pick from this part of the deck. I don't even know how many. Let me just put like 2 more from like this part of the deck. Whatever, it doesn't really matter. What's this one? Choose an ebook to read. Okay, we already picked that. All right, let's go ahead and pick one more prompt. Let's pick from here. Read the book that's at the very bottom of your shelf. Meaning like pretty much the book that's been on the bottom of your TBR for a while. That's how I think of it because why are these out of the stack? But actually we're going to take one off the shelf because I also want to read this book in June as well. Like I said, I want to read like so many series and I keep on pushing off this series as well. So we're going to pick Fireborn by Rosaria Munda. I didn't realize how much fantasy books I was going to pick again. Why do I always pick fantasy books? I mean, it is my favorite genre, but I think that this is better. And then I feel like that makes me want to read all 3 of them. So I'm just going to put the first book up here. So we have quite a few series that I want to get to in June. So let's just talk about the other books that I am potentially going to mood read. I'm not going to put them all up here. But there's like a couple new releases that I would like to read in June. So first we have The Summer Proposal by V. Keeland. I feel like I want to start off June with this book because I really just want to read an easy summer romance at the beginning of June. So I think we're going to start with this book, but my mood could change, but I feel like I'm in the mood for like a summer romance right now. So, I feel like we're going to read this book definitely. So, but I'm going to put it here because I kind of just want to pick off books off of this cart as much as possible and not like force myself to read other books. These are up here because I really would like to get to these books in June. But if we don't, it's not the end of the world. Honestly, the ones I really want to get to is Daughter of the Moon Goddess, Mad Honey, and The Correspondent. If I get to those books, great. And possibly Fireborn. And then like the 2 series on my Kindle would be great too. And then another one that I'm 100% actually going to be reading is Witch Queen Rising by Savannah Stevens. Because I have the audiobook for this one and I got the audiobook like a few days ago. But it does expire in a week. So I'm thinking I might read this right after Summer Proposal. Because it's just a short little... I think it's a standalone, possibly. I don't think it's part of a series. I'm going to have to look that up. So I'm really excited to read that one too. Also another potential one I would like to read in June is These Summer Storms by Sarah McLean, because this is supposed to be like a drama-filled family summer fiction. So I'm really excited to read this one too. And then I was kind of in the mood to read a adult Lynn Painter book, so I might read Mr. Wrong Number finally by Lynn Painter, because I think I've read like 8 of her books at this point. I've read all of her YA books, but I think I've only read like 3 of her adult romances, because I read Happily Never After, Made for Each Other, because I got the ARC for that last year, and then I also got the ARC for First and Forever, which I read this month in May, and that book was really cute. So like her summer rom-coms are just such easy books to read, so I might potentially read that in June. And then another one that I really wanted to read in June is The Austen Affair by Madeline Bell, and this one was suggested to me by the lovely owner from Northport Books, which is again where we're thinking of doing our book club meet for our books that we read in May. So I kind of really want to read this in June. And the other potential book is Death Meets Cute by Jay Penner. This is supposed to be like a monster romance, and honestly I don't really read too many of those, and this one is also a newer release. I think The Summer Proposal came out in May. Witch Queen Rising, I believe, came out at the end of April, beginning of May, possibly. And this one came out, I believe, in April, like the end of April or something. So I thought that this would be really fun. And then I really want to read this one, because this one's part of like the TBR Prompt vlog that I'm doing. So I'm going to end up reading this book anyway, and that is Heart's Landing by Melanie Harlow. This is a small town romance, like Friends, I think it's Friends to Lovers. So I really want to read this one. But again, I'm just going to keep them on the bottom of the cart. But I think I'm going to definitely read Summer Proposal and Heart's Landing. And then the other potential summer romance book, no, not this one, but I do want to read this, like, I think sometime in July, Dating You, Hating You by Christina Loren. But I think their new release comes out in July. And that is The Summer I Found You by Jennifer O'Brien. This is the book signing that I went to at Northport Books. And she signed the front of it. She's really, really sweet right here. So I'm really wanting to read this in June, possibly. And this one is an age gap romance. And then the last one on the bottom is Once a Queen by Sarah Arthur. This is the start of a YA fantasy series, so this would be book 1. But I don't know if I'm going to continue it. I just want to read this one. It's not like a priority series for me. I just think it's going to be a fun time. So basically she goes into a fantasy world. It's kind of similar to like This Kingdom Will Not Kill Me, which I loved that book. That was like my favorite fantasy book in April. And I think her grandma is the ruler of a fantasy world. Yeah, when 14-year-old America Eva Joyce unexpectedly finds herself spending the summer at the mysterious Manor House, and it takes place in the summer, which is perfect, of the English grandmother she's never met, she soon discovers that her family, the manor staff, and even the house itself are hiding secrets. So I'm definitely excited for this one. So those are all the potential books. And also, I might potentially read The Road to Tender Hearts by Annie Hartnett. This kind of is a little similar to like Little Miss Sunshine, if you've ever seen that movie. That movie's really good. And this one says, a darkly comic novel about an old man on a cross-country mission to reunite with his high school crush, bringing together his adult daughter, 2 orphan kids, and a cat who can predict death. So I feel like it's a little bit magical realism-y, so I'm really excited for this one too. And also Startup Hell I might potentially read, and this one's by Caitlin Rosakis. This looks so funny, like customer service in hell. Kind of reminds me of For Whom the Bell Tolls. It says, Startup Hell is a contemporary fantasy that exposes the demonic nature of a corporate world. So this sounds really fun. I bought this with my $5 reward at Barnes, and the sprayed edges are just so cute. So I might potentially read that one too. And then the last one is a new release that came out, I think, just like a week ago. So I really want to read this too. And that is Deathbringer by Sonia Tagliareni. I can never say this. And this is a, excuse me, dark academia fantasy. So very excited for this one too. So I think I'm definitely going to read this one. And also Summer Proposal and Witch Queen Rising and Heart's Landing. Everything else is going to be hopefully mood reading. So, let's just go through the stack real quick, and then I'm going to move. I need to put laundry in the dryer, and then we will go through the rest of my TBR. But I think I mostly told you the ones that I really want to read. Oh, there's like 2 more. So we might potentially read The Kiss Quotient by Helen Huang. This one has been a romance that has been on my TBR for way too long. Like this one and Dating You, Hating You have been on my TBR like forever. So I really would potentially like to read this one too. And then the other one is another, I think it's it's definitely a gay romance, but I don't like gay general fiction. And that one is, this one was potentially going to be the book club pick for June as well, and that is the Book of Luke. I'm definitely reading this in June because I really want to read more Pride books in June, so I'm going to be doing The Guncle Abroad, Mad Honey, this one, and I forget if there's any other ones. I could have sworn there was another one, possibly. But anyway, it's called The Book of Luke by Lovell Holder. I also have this from the library, so I have this on Libby with the audiobook along with The Guncle Abroad. And this one sounds so fun. It says, for fans of Survivor and less, this fast-paced debut novel shines an unflinching light on the drama of reality TV when a gay man returns to the cutthroat show he won in his youth after his adult life begins to unravel. So that's all I'm going to read because it sounds like it's going to be such a good time. I mean, it's actually a little serious, but also like really excited to read it. Also, I might potentially start Red Rising by Pierce Brown in June because I might potentially be buddy reading this with Mike Bookstagram because we were thinking about buddy reading it in May, but I just simply ran out of time in May because I had to read like 10 billion new releases. I'm reading Matt Haig's new release right now, and then I'm going to be reading Frida McFadden's new release. I kind of started both of them already, and then I'm going to be finishing the month with Stormbreaker, which came out May 5th. So, yeah, we just have no time for books that have been in my TBR for forever. We have to put the anniversary up here, because there's no way we're not reading this book. So this one has to go up here. I might just take off Legendborn, because, you know, again, we're not pressuring myself too much, but this one obviously we're 100% reading, so this one's going up here. Yeah, I think that's good. I'm just gonna leave these here and see how many of them I can get through. So we're either gonna start the Legendborn trilogy or the Red Rising trilogy. I think that's better if we just keep both of these off the cart and see which one we're going to potentially be starting in June. So yeah, I will be right back. Oh wait, let me go through the books. I don't really need to, though, because these books they're old books, so I don't really have to talk about them again. So, what did I pick this one for? So, for Place Spin the Bottle with 5 books, we got Daughter of the Moon Goddess. Then, pick a sequel was Heart of the Sun Warrior, Vow of Thieves, or The Right Move. I think that was it, right? As long as it's a sequel, it doesn't really matter. This one, what did we pick this one for? I already forgot what the prompt was. This one was choose a book with a 5-star prediction, so that's this one or The Correspondent. And then we have book on the bottom of my TBR, or book on the bottom of my shelf is going to be Fireborn by Rosaria Munda, and then Dance of Thieves by Mary E. Pearson is going to be book that's been on my that's the longest on my TBR. And then for picking an ebook, because that was 1, 2, 3, yeah, that's 5. An ebook pick would be Spark of the Everflame, Mile High, or Between Tides and Thunder. Whatever I'm in the mood for to pick up is the one that I'm going to read on my Kindle. So, yeah, I think we did pretty good with that. I'm going to put this one back in the... Yeah, we're going to put these ones back in there because I don't think any of these are Pulitzer Prize winning or even nominees. So I don't really read books like that. Unless this one is. But we ended up picking another prompt anyway, so it's not a big deal. Okay, I will be right back. Okay, so let me actually read the synopsises for the anniversary and for the correspondent, because these are our 2 must-reads for June. So the anniversary by Alex Finley says, today became an anniversary they would never celebrate. One fateful night in 1992, Jules and Quinn's lives are changed and intertwined forever. Quinn Riley, a boy from the wrong side of the tracks, is arrested after he innocently tries to break up a fight, but ends up nearly killing someone. Jules Delaney, high school royalty, survives an attack by the elusive and terrifying May Day killer, a predator who strikes every May 1st in small Midwestern towns. A year later, Jules is struggling with trauma and guilt, tormented by the question, why was I spared? Quinn is newly released from juvenile detention and returns home to fresh heartbreak, the unsolved murder of his mother. So that's not I'm gonna read, but it sounds so fucking good. And it's actually getting really good reviews. So it has like a 4.05 on Goodreads, so that's really high. And then the other one, because I've had this for like 2 months and I'm surprised that we haven't read it yet, but me and Felicia didn't really have time to read it until June, and that's The Correspondent by Virginia Evans. So this one said, I feel like I already read this synopsis, but it might have only been on Instagram. It says, Sybil Van Antwerp has throughout her life used letters to make sense of the world and her place in it. Most mornings around 10:30, Sybil sits down to write letters to her brother, to her best friend, to the president of the university who will not allow her to audit a class she desperately wants to take. To Joan Didion and Laura McMurtry, why can't I say that? To tell them what she thinks of their latest books, and to one person to whom she writes often yet never sends the letter. Sybil expects her world to go on as it always has. A mother, grandmother, wife, divorcee, distinguished lawyer, she has lived a very full life. But when letters from someone in her past force her to examine one of the most painful periods of her life, she realizes that the letter she has been writing over the years needs to be read, and that she cannot move forward until she finds it in her heart to offer forgiveness. I can't believe I read all of that without like stumbling on my words, but yeah, I'm excited for that too. And then let's just go through the potential books that I might pick up on my Kindle. So let me just read the synopsis for The Guncle Abroad, though, because that's going to be our book club pick, obviously, so I'm going to be reading that in June, and it's just so funny that they ended up picking it, because I'm buddy reading The Correspondent and The Guncle Abroad with her, so it just works out so well. But he also just came out with a new book. I kind of wish we would have picked that one. It's called, Please Don't Leave Me? Is that what it's called? Or Take Me With You. Take Me With You. It just came out last week, I believe. Okay, this one says, for The Guncle Abroad, 9 hours... Oh, wait, never mind. I think that's how long the audiobook is. Why would they say how long the audiobook is in the synopsis? Okay. It says, Patrick O'Hara is called back to his guncle duties, this time for a big family wedding in Italy. Patrick O'Hara is back. It's been 5 years since his summer as his niece, Macy, and nephew Grant's caretaker after their mother's passing. The kids are back in Connecticut with their dad, and Patrick has relocated to New York to remain close by and relaunch his dormant acting career. After the run of his second successful sitcom comes to a close, Patrick feels on top of the world, professionally. But some things have had to take a back seat. Looking down both barrels at 50, Patrick is single again after breaking things off with Emery. But at least he has a family to lean on, until the family needs to again lean on him. When Patrick's brother Greg announces he's getting remarried in Italy, Macy and Grant are not thrilled. Patrick feels drawn to take the two back under his wing. As they travel through Europe on their way to the wedding, Patrick tries his best to help them understand love much as he once helped them comprehend grief. And then disaster strikes and he has to deal with all those situations with the children. So I'm really excited for that one too. And then I'm just going to read the synopsis for Deathbringer. Actually, never mind. I'm going to pick up these books when I want to, so I'm not going to read every single synopsis. So, yeah, cool. So anyway, I just have 1, 2, 3. I think I only have 3 potential books to talk about on my Kindle TBR. So let's just go ahead and pull those up. This one, I'm not sure if this is a standalone. It might be. I think it is a standalone fantasy, and it's a dark romantasy, I believe. It's called Until I Die by Deidre Duncan. Can I get rid of this freaking hair? And let me pull it up on Goodreads. Until I Die. This one. I think it is a standalone. It's not even on my want to read. Of course it's not. And this one has a high 4 rating. This one says, in the ruins of a nation. I've actually never read the synopsis, so I kind of want to. 2 enemies risk everything for a chance at justice and each other. After the fracture, nothing is safe. Not love, not truth, and certainly not women. In the ashes of the fallen United States, the new American order has seized power, silencing dissent and enslaving the vulnerable. To stop the spread of their evil, Sophia Reeves has given everything to the Defiance, a resistance force battling the NAO. But now her general has another command. Become a contact for an enemy officer turned spy. She understands the sacrifice this order requires. Association with a blood colonial is a death sentence, especially for a woman. He's just a name at first, a whisper in the dark, but week by week, Lucas Scott becomes something more, dangerously unreadable, brutally efficient, and far too human for a man embedded in the regime that breaks people like her. That sounds so good. So, might potentially read that. And then another fantasy book. This one came out, I believe, in April. I don't know why I'm guessing when I can just literally just pull it up. This one came out. This was also on Kindle Unlimited. Oh, in March. So it says, this one is called, I can tell you guys the title of the book, Mayhem and the Mortal by Shanora Williams. That's my last name. So Caitlin has my first name, because that's how I spell it. And she has my last name. So anyway, this says, I feel like I've read this synopsis before, but I'm really excited for it. I'm not going to read the synopsis for it. And then the last one is a darker, romance, but not a dark romance, cliche, stalker or mafia romance. This is a dark romance, meaning the topics being discussed are dark, kind of similar to Boys of Tommen. Is that what it's called? Hold on. I think it's called The Best Worst Thing, not The Next Worst Thing. This one is getting a lot of talk, and also I really want to read this author's first book. I think it's only her first book, because her second book actually comes out in June, so I might add this to my TBR. I'm also forgetting that I want to talk about 4 or 5 potential new releases that are coming out in June. But I'm going to add this to my list. But anyway, I think I might read this book first over her first book, because this one's coming out in the middle of June. And she's doing a book signing here. So I'm thinking about reading this one over the one that I was going to say. And that is Trope Sick by Lauren O'Kay. I don't know how you say her name. But the one that's getting a lot of hype is The Best Worst Thing from the same author. And I was going to read that first, but I think I'm going to read Trope Sick because I want to go to the book signing. So there's another potential book signing that I'm going to in June. So this one comes out June 16th. Yeah, there's going to be a book signing at my local bookstore on the 18th. So I could read it on the 16th and then go to the signing. I don't know how much the tickets are though. Blah 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 blah. Okay. Oh, cool. Okay. You just purchased the book. But yeah, I'm excited for this one. So I think I'm going to add that to my TBR for June. So this might be another must read like The Anniversary. It says, in this lush, slow-burning romance, two childhood neighbors connected by their shared tragedy unexpectedly reunite to ghostwrite a love story for a reclusive author. Spending the summer at her secluded Hamptons estate, they soon discover that dozens of classic romance tropes, including the ones they're crafting on the page, are mysteriously playing out in real life. This hair. Where? I already lost my spot. Why am I so dumb? Oh, Katie Caruso is a completely normal 25-year-old girl. At least for the past 8 years, she's tried to be. She likes glitter and sequins and flirting with cute boys at New York City bars. She's also a ghostwriter for Meredith Bradford, the best-selling romance novelist of all time. But then Tyler McNally walks back into Katie's life, and that bedazzled facade crumbles at her platform sneakered feet. Okay, that sounds fun. I don't have to read the whole thing. I think that sounds good. I don't know if it's on Kindle Unlimited though. And I think I just checked. No, it's not. But I'm going to be purchasing it anyway at the... Well, yeah, I'm going to have to purchase it there. I probably will just get it from Libby so I can read it before I go to the event. So I think that is it. I think I talked about, yeah. Oh, and my reread for June. I think it's going to have to be, I wanted to read either Every Summer After or One Golden Summer. It was going to be one of those two because I really wanted to go back to a Carly Fortune book for the summertime. But since the show is coming out June 10th for Every Summer After, it's called Every Year After. I don't know why the hell they changed the name, but whatever. I think it's going to have to be Every Summer After by Carly Fortune. But I really wanted to read One Golden Summer because that's my favorite book by Carly Fortune, like ever. And it was my favorite summer romance last year, so I really wanted to revisit it in this summer. But I might just reread it in July. But I didn't love this book enough to reread it. But also, like, I want to reread it to refresh my memory before the show comes out. So I'm a little bit torn. So it's either going to be this or One Golden Summer because y'all know how much I love this book. So I'm not really sure yet. But we will figure that out in June. I might just look up a synopsis because I pretty much remember what happens. It's just for me, like, and for a lot of people for Every Summer After. I was loving that book, and it is my third favorite Carly Fortune book because Our Perfect Storm quickly took over the second spot. Because I've now read all her books at this point. After I read Our Perfect Storm, I've now read all of her summer romance books. And those are the only books that she writes anyway. And those are my two favorite books by her. So, but Every Summer After was better than This Summer Will Be Different and Meet Me at the Lake. Because it was giving me 5-star feelings in the beginning. And then it kind of went downhill at the end for like a lot of people. So, I'm not really sure. But we will figure it out. So that is my entire mood reading TBR. And I'm really excited for it. And also, my potential, well, there's 4 books that I have to read, but everything else, I'm not going to put too much pressure on myself. I just wanted to use the cards because I just needed some sort of TBR that I was going to stick to, because I just saw this in Bree's video, because she was back on YouTube from after taking a break for a while. She took like 5 or 6 months off because she was moving to Australia. And she said that she just needs some sort of direction in her TBRs because she was mood reading for like months, you know. Even though she is a mood reader, she still loves doing TBR videos. So I kind of felt like it was still going to be fun for me to pick out some books to read on my TBR. And I'm actually glad that we put books that have been on my list for a while on my TBR. I still have 2 full TBR drawers, and again, I really want to clear off some of those books that I mentioned off my TBR card, because that's what we're mostly going to be doing. And then if we read the Fireborn trilogy finally on my shelf, then we only have 3 more series, but 8 more books to read on my bookshelf. And then we will finally have all of the books read on my bookshelves. So, but those are probably not going to be read until later in the year, but because they're all high fantasy series. So that is it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Oh wait, we didn't talk about, oh my god, I'm so stupid. We didn't talk about the new releases. Okay, so Trope Sick is one that comes out June 15th. I'm just going to go over these really quickly. So the one I'm definitely going to be reading, because I always read all of her books. And I love her writing, so oh my god. So the next one that's coming out also on June 16th is Ashley Poston's The Someday Garden. I'm not reading the synopsises for these. I'm just going to go over them. So definitely reading that. Then the other one that has a lot of people's anticipated sequel that's coming out is the sequel to Metal Slinger, and that is called Light Wielder by Rachel Schneider. That is coming out June 9th. I'm probably not going to read it until like the 3rd week of June, though. I'm not going to read it like on release day. I didn't love Metal Slinger as much as everybody else, but it still intrigued me to continue the series. And then the other one, which doesn't come out until the end of June, so I'm probably not even going to read this until like July 1st, because it doesn't come out until June 30th. That is the 3rd book in the Viper series by Rena Kent, and that is Tempting Venom. This is the only Rena Kent series that I've kept up with, because it's been having books, you know, come out like one at a time, and actually 2 of them came out last year. The first book came out last May, and I really do enjoy this series, so I'm really excited for the 3rd book. I think it's the final book, because I haven't seen her announce any other ones, so I think it's only going to be a trilogy, but correct me if I'm wrong. And then I might read the 2 prequel books, because a lot of people are telling me to read Kiss the Villain and Hunt the Villain. But you don't have to read them really in any specific order. They're pretty much interconnected standalones, these books, in the Vipers series. So, and then the other one, which I believe this one comes out in the beginning of the month. I feel like I've been filming for forever already. This one comes out June 2nd, yes, and that is Shadow Reaper by Lynette Noni. This one looks so pretty. It has like the stars sprayed edges, so I might pick it up. But also, like, I wasn't potentially going to read this. There was only going to be like 3 or 4 June releases that I wanted to read. So like I said, The Someday Garden is a must for me, and probably Trope Sick. But the other ones, I'm not going to like rush to read them. And then this one, I believe, is a new rom-com coming out in June. And this one also comes out June 16th. Everything's coming out June 16th. And that is Romantic Hero by Kirsty Greenwood. I feel like I've heard of this author before. Yes, I did read her release in 2024. And that was The Love of My Afterlife. I loved this book. It was so much fun. So she's coming out with a new release in June. So I'm thinking about reading that one in June as well. I don't think she's released a book for 2 years. And then there are 2 other, or possibly 3 other books that came out in May that I'm just going to mention. I don't think I'm going to read any of them in June because, again, the freaking new releases in May were just ridiculous. And I did not put this on my want to read, but I've read 2 of her other books before, so I really do want to read this one. But I'm probably going to read this one in July. And that is Jen McKinley's new book, and that is The Summer Share. I think I'm going to read this in July. I'm not going to rush out and buy it for May because I don't end up, for June, because I don't end up keeping any of her books. So I'm probably just going to purchase this in July and then probably take it back. But I'm excited to read that one. And I feel like there was one more. Oh yeah, there was another one by Laura Steven. I had no idea she was coming out with a new book. I thought the only book that she was coming out with this year was Turncloak, which I have the arc for. Oh my god. And that is Every Exquisite Thing. Why does it load so blurry every time you click the damn photo? The first time. That is Every Exquisite Thing. Look at how pretty this is. This one is a dark horror, like fantasy romance. And you guys know I'm not like a huge fan of horror, but I don't know. I love Laura Steven's writing. I've given both of her books that I've read by her 5 stars because I read Our Infinite Fates and Silvercloak, and I absolutely love both of them. She's become one of my favorite writers. So, and then the last one, I think, just came out on Tuesday as well. I might pick this book up because it's so beautiful. Where is it? It's a dragon fantasy book, I believe. Yes. Let me type that in as well. It looks so pretty. I might exchange this one and the other. I might exchange Stormbreaker and Saltwater for this book and Shadow Reaper. I don't have this on my want to read either. So this one is called Wings of Life by Megan LaFay. And this one is also a new release that came out on the 26th of May. So those are all the books that are on my radar. But some of those I just wanted to talk about them because I didn't talk about them in my April TBR video because, like I said, there was just way too many May new releases to keep track of. So those are all the books that are potentially on my TBR, not just for this month, but possibly next month as well in July. So please like and subscribe. Follow me on my Instagram at CBW819 and check out my TikTok and my Goodreads in the description box below. I hope you guys have a great day and keep reading. Bye. Okay, so hey there guys. I know I'm back for like the billionth time in this video, but I forgot to pick out a book out of my books that I put in this cup to read this year, and they're mostly like standalone books that have been on my TBR for forever. So let's go ahead and pick out of this jar. Even though I am mood reading this month, maybe I'll be in the mood for one of these. I think I'm going to pick 2 out of here, just so we can have a bit of an option. Okay, we have Verity. Actually, I've been really thinking about reading this book for a while. Like, I think June might be a good time to read it because it's been on my TBR for a while. I have not picked up another Colleen Hoover book since I read, okay, we have another blue one. What's it called? I've only read 2 Colleen Hoover books because I'm really not a fan of her anymore. After all that controversy happened, I've only read It Ends With Us and It Starts With Us. And since the Verity movie is coming out in October, I really would like to read this sooner rather than later. And I've heard this is freaking unhinged and crazy, so this might be the time. So I'm not mad about this one at all. And then let's see what the second one is. I think I'm going to keep Verity. Oh, cool. The Hunting Party. Actually, I'm in a big thriller mood right now. So it's funny how it picked the 2 thrillers that have been on my TBR for quite a long time. I think The Hunting Party has been on my TBR even longer. And I feel like this TBR video has been never ending because I keep on forgetting to film certain parts of it at the end. Okay, well, I did forget to mark the hunting party on Goodreads until January of this year, but I know it's been on my TBR for a while because I picked up the physical book at Strand in the city like a while ago, so I think it was at least almost a year or so ago. Verity's been on my TBR since May 12th of 2024. That's almost that's 2 years. So I think we're gonna pick Verity because I'm actually really happy with both the picks that I picked this time because they're both books I've really been wanting to read for quite a while. Oh, I read this one already, The Crimson Crown. I can take this one out of here. That's good. I think the Honey Witch is in here too. I might have to take that out of here too. But I'll find it later. But since I read that one, I need to take it out too. So I think I've actually read 3 books out of here so far that I haven't picked out of the jar. Did I put Verity back? All right, I'm going to have to take it back out. But I actually read The Honey Witch, The Crimson Crown, and what's the other one that I just said? The Bookshop of Second Chances. Those are the 3 that I've read out of this jar. So, out of the cup. But I still haven't read it when I've actually picked it. I've just read the one that I've wanted to pick up. So I think that this jar is a good idea, but like I can't seem to ever be in the mood to pick them up. So, want to pick the one that I actually pick until I'm actually in the mood for it. So it makes sense, I guess. And since it's a mood reading June, it's not really that big of a deal, but I think this might be the month. But there are a couple of other thrillers on my list that I forgot to mention. Because I'm like, you know what? I didn't really talk about that many thrillers that I wanted to put on my TBR. I'm not going to read the synopsises for this again because the first time I recorded this, I lost the clip because somehow it didn't save. So the first one is Sally Hepsworth's Darling Girls. I think I really want to read this soon. I am reading The Divorce by Frida McFadden, but honestly, it's not really hitting, and I really just want a good summer thriller right now, and this sounds really good. It has a pretty decent rating on Goodreads, so that one's definitely on my radar for June. And then the other one that I feel like is a good summer thriller is The Villa by Rachel Hawkins. I still haven't read any of her books. I've never read any of Sally Hepworth's books either. So I think both of these would be good options. And then there was just one other new release that I forgot to talk about. And then I swear to God, this is going to be the last clip that I film because I'm starting to get tired of myself talking. And this one came out at the end of May, and that is Phoebe Berman's Gonna Lose It. I just wanted to mention it by Brooke Averick. I'm not going to read it this month, but it came out May 26th, and a lot of people are talking about how good it is, but I don't think I'm going to read it anytime soon, but I just wanted to mention it. And hold on one second. Pretty sure I talked about Because I Killed Him and Wings of Fire. That's not even what it's called, Wings of Fire. No, it's not called that. I think it's The Wings of Life. If I've talked about this too many times, I'm sorry. I'm just gonna shut up now. That is it. Goodbye. Sorry, I'm laying down now because I'm tired, but I just forgot to say where I got Gone Girl. Because I just talked about the one I wanted to read over Gone Girl rather than telling you where I got it gifted from. So Meg gave it to me at her bridal shower because she actually had books as kind of centerpieces in the middle of the tables that we went to, the restaurant that we went to, and she said that she was just going to give them away to whoever wanted them. And I gave her a book of the month book that I didn't pay for. I was like, you can just have it because I didn't even pay for it, and I finished the book before I even had read it because I'd finished the book before I even got it because I just listened to the audiobook, which was My Husband's Wife by Alice Feeney, because I just received it so late that, by the way, I need to see if they came out with the books of the month for
June, actually, as I'm saying this. But anyway, I got it from, they didn't come out with them yet. Sometimes they come out with them like a day or two earlier, but I don't think it's going to be like later till later today because it's the 30th now. So anyway, didn't I skip it though? Pretty sure I skipped it. So why does it say this was picked if I skipped the month? Okay. No, it says no renewal. So anyway, I don't even know what I did. I could have sworn I skipped it, but whatever. Um, so yeah, she knew that I was wanting to read Gone Girl. I forgot why it came up, but she kept on telling me that she had a copy of it, and she was like, "I'll give it to you at the bridal shower." So, and then I gave her a book to borrow, but I also gifted her 2 books for her bridal shower too. So I just wanted to say, ignore what I said about Shadow Reaper because it's not out yet. It's not out until the 3rd of June. So that's why my Barnes didn't have it. Um, so I just wanted to talk about 2 more potential books if I don't fall on my ass. But I think they're right on top of my drawer. But I might be really in the mood to read this duology in June as opposed to reading them later in the year because this is a gay fantasy romance and I'm like really intrigued on reading this. And I forget what it's actually called, but it's The Sun-Blessed Prince and the Moon-Blessed King by Lindsay Bird. I just recently picked these up like a couple of weeks ago. Here I am picking up a full completed series. I'm pretty sure it's just a duology from what I looked up. Because, why not pick up another duology when I said that? I have been pretty good about not picking up like completed series though, besides without completing the series that I actually own, besides Legendborn this year because I was waiting for Oathbound to come out in paperback, so that's like literally the only other series that I really have purchased without reading it first, like reading the first book first. So this one, I forget who the author's name is, but I had to re-record this clip because I said that I was trying to look for Shadow Reaper today when I went to return Saltwater to Barnes. But like I said, it's not even out yet, so that's why they didn't have it. It's called A Tale of Two Crowns. I'm not going to read the synopsis because it just makes the clip too long, but I'm seriously thinking about reading this in June. I feel like you cannot see it. Okay, I think that's a little better. So yeah, they're just beautiful covers, and I'm really intrigued on reading that. And I really need to just not worry about sticking to my TBR list because that's not the point of a mood reading TBR. Like, there are certain books that I'm definitely going to be reading, but the whole point of a mood reading TBR is to read what I'm in the mood for, not pressure myself to read every single thing that I just said or wanted to read in June. I need to actually just pick it up when I'm in the mood for it. Like, I'm going to try and complete the prompts, but that's not what June was for. It was supposed to mood read as much as possible. So I really just need to ingrain that into my head because I'm still following a TBR list. So I just feel like deleting it and then just keeping, the 5 must books that I need to read, the 5 must reads that I need to read. But besides that, I really need to just mood read as much as possible, like I said, because I really do not want to follow a TBR this month. So, but I just wanted to mention one more new release that I don't think I mentioned. I don't even know what I mentioned in the last clip, honestly. One other new release I wanted to mention. I'm not going to talk about any other ones. But the other one that I wanted to just mention really quick that came out May 13th, 2026 was Because I Killed Him by Edith Birdie. I'm not going to read the full synopsis again. I just did in the last clip, and I'm like, just look it up on Goodreads or Google. I saw this being added to Cassidy Shivers' books with Cassidy, I believe her channel name is, to her June TBR, and also Bailey from Bailey's Books also added this to her June TBR as well. And it sounds really fucking cool. So I'm just gonna keep this on my radar for the summer. It doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to be reading this in June. I forgot to put it on my new releases TBR list because I killed him. And then if I didn't mention this one, I feel like I don't know if I did, was Wings of Fire. Because I really cannot remember what the fuck I talked about in the last clip. I think it was just Shadow Reaper, the Sunblessed Prince duology, and Because I Killed Him. I think it's Wings and Fire. Oh my god, why can't I remember the fucking name? It just came out the 26th, but I feel like I talked about it. Where the hell is it? Wings of Life. This one. Maybe I didn't talk about it. I can't fucking remember because I apparently have amnesia every time I film a fucking clip. Wings of Life. So this came out the 26th, and this is by Megan LaFay, and it's the first book in the Dragonbound Chronicles. So I'm just going to mention it. I don't remember if I fucking talked about it because I don't have a brain. So yeah, now this is officially done. I, again, do not want to put any pressure on myself to read these books. Like I said, the only must-reads are The Correspondent, The Gungle Abroad, and The Anniversary, and I think that's it. All the other books, I really just need to mood read. I don't know why I keep on stressing this. I feel like I just need to remind myself. And I do need to read Witch Queen Rising because my Libby loan for the audiobook expires in like 5 days. So, yeah. I'm not going to tell you guys what I want to read. I already did. I just need to. Maybe we won't read any of those other books. Maybe we will. But that's the freedom. And I do need to read The Daughter of the Moon Goddess duology. If I don't read any other series in June, it has to be that one. That's like literally the only one that I really need to read in June. So yeah, that's it. Bye.